Well, good day, everybody. Welcome. We are very glad you're here. And for a little bit of an intro and basically for the recording, um, to introduce myself, I am Jan Jeremias. I live in the northeastern part of the United States, and I am a health and wellness coach. And I've been in the health, don't like to use industry, for field sounds better, for over 35 years. And now my focus has transitioned to more traditional sort of Western outlook on health to a much more holistic, integrative approach to health and well-being. I help people to see the whole picture of that well-being, physical, mental, and emotional, and gently translate that into a blueprint or plan for everyday health. I feel like we need connection, we need community, we need to feel like we belong. Um, and we live in a world right now which is quite harsh and quite overwhelming. And so kindness is key. And I share this passion for kindness and community with my dear friend and collaborator, Mary Jane McQueen, MJ. And together we believe in bringing more kindness into the world. And that can be in the form of really conscious and heartfelt conversations, workshops, offerings where we inspire people through creativity, connection to breath, and connection to their bodies. And I will pass it to you, Mary Jane. But thank you so much, Mary Jane. And thank you, everybody. Really like touches my heart so much when each of you come each week. And for those of you listening out there, reach out to us. MJ, Mary Jane.
It's like I'm like a dual, I'm a split personality or something. I love it. Thank you, Jan. Um, I guess I have multiple personalities all at once. Just shh, don't tell anyone. Yeah, so as Jan was pointing out, I am Mary Jane, or MJ as I'm known in some social circles, of course. Um, I have my own creative studio where I support my fellow entrepreneurs to get their mission and vision out into the world. And I also love the opportunity to create beautiful, pretty things, as I call it, for things like invitations, etc. So I'm let me say, a multifaceted creative. And I really just love co-creating spaces with people, especially this long collaboration with Jam, which has been amazing, creating this beautiful community of which you've also been co-creators. And we just love, as Jan was saying, to have a space where we can hold gentle and intentional conversations and meditative experiences that really invite you to slow down, soften, and reconnect with yourself. Um, we always approach with from a place of presence and compassion and curiosity. And so, we just feel honored to be in presence with all of you and just love being here. And as a reminder, as we know, there's nothing you need to do or achieve here, just really an invitation to arrive exactly as you are in the moment. And many thanks to Jan for putting up with my weird sense and quirky sense of humor, and just sharing the joys and the sorrows of life. So thank you for just being here and present with all of us. So I think to begin this morning, as we usually do, I'm going to share a poem, and it's just an invitation to listen inward. And it's called You Are Loved, and it's by Emily Roussel. Now, it's geared more towards speaking about a mother's love, but I really feel that this love, the maternal love, whether it's an actual mother or not, extends through all of us. So, You Are Loved by Emily Roussel. I can't stop the rain, but I will hold the umbrella, even as my children get older, taller, and closer to grown. Even as I know life is both sunshine and rain. immense joy, and immense hard. I can't stop the rain, despite giving it my all, despite deeply cherishing, despite loving unconditionally. The rain comes in aches, in grief, in uncertainty, in trials. I can't stop the rain, and I'm not meant to, because I know it's on me to protect them from life's storms, but to also give them the skills to navigate the waters, to guard them from the floods, but to also understand some rain is needed for growth. It's a sacred dance we do as their mothers. It's a back and forth rhythm of shielding while trying to grow their independence. It's trying to raise them to be ready and capable while still protecting and nurturing. It's holding on while gently letting go. I can't stop the rain, and it's my job to teach them to maneuver through it. But for as long as I'm able, I will hold the umbrella, because while I can't stop the rain, I can give them the gift of knowing that whatever they're going through, if the storm becomes too much, there is someone who will stand beside them and hold the umbrella.
Thank you so much, Mary Jane, for sharing our poem for the week. Welcome, everybody. Again, we are really glad you're here. And today's gathering under the same umbrella is an invitation into something simple, but not always easy. Being present without needing to change or explain what we're experiencing. So much of what we're taught and what we practice in everyday life is to respond, to resolve, or to make sense of things. But there's another way of being that many mindfulness and self-development practices point to. The idea that there is real value in simply allowing things to be as they are. Research and reflection across these spaces often remind us that healing and connection don't always come from advice or conversation, but from presence itself, from creating an environment where there is no pressure to perform, no expectation to have the right words, and no need to fix anything. There's also an understanding that silence is not empty. When it's shared, it can actually deepen connection, offering a sense of being with others, even without interaction. And that's the pause, which can sometimes feel uncomfortable. It's the pause, which is often where awareness and insight begin to unfold naturally. So today, this is the space we're stepping into together, a space where you are welcome to simply be as you are, where nothing needs to be said and nothing needs to be solved, where your presence alone is enough. You're invited to engage in whatever way feels right to you, whether that's sitting quietly, listening, or just allowing yourself a moment of stillness. Thank you for being here and for contributing to this shared space just by showing up, just by your presence. Let's begin together.
That was beautiful, Jan, but I'm smiling to myself, kind of how we were discussing briefly before we began today's conversation about, it's like, well, yes, you're welcome to show up in whatever way you wish to today, but certainly, Jen and I hope that you won't be totally silent the whole time, that perhaps you will share some of your insights as well. So it was just funny. I was just saying the side of my I was joking. We were joking earlier that it could be a very long, quiet recording if nobody speaks. But I guess Jan and I will speak, right, Jan?
Yes. At least somewhat.
But yeah, it's such wonderful conversation. I mean, the idea of being on the under the umbrella together. Okay, well, I mean, it might need to be a really extra large umbrella today, but that's okay.
Hmm.
But but I just love the well, maybe it'll be a patio umbrella. We'll but yeah, it's just to be in in the space together and realizing, um being in a space where we don't need to fix anything, we don't need to change anything, we just need to be.
Yeah, I agree. It can be a challenging place, and I think it begins with we have to learn how to hold space for ourselves.
Yes.
Um, think about how often before I actually think I knew how to do that, which I'm still learning always, but before I was able to sit with myself and hold space for myself, it wasn't like I wasn't holding space for other people, but I just feel like it was different. There was a different kind of quality to it if I look back. Um, and maybe it was the quality was that feeling of allowing it to be uncomfortable if it felt uncomfortable,
Hmm.
in holding space for myself.
Yes.
And then also in holding space for other people, you know, and that it was okay that it was uncomfortable. And as I look back and I think about all the people that I've followed, from Pima Chodron to Thich Nhat Hanh to who I've mentioned, Sharon Salzberg, Tara Brach, like for years now. But you hear when you're ready to hear, but also as you evolve, like you learn things. And I think about how I would hear those messages, like comfortable with uncertainty or being, um, so finding comfortable in the uncomfortable. And I think to myself, I don't know that the words were there, but I don't know that I truly grasped or allowed myself to grasp their true meaning and to live them. I think I spent a lot of time like hearing it, but I don't know how much I actually owned it. And so now when I look back, I think to myself, wow, it's very different now when I think about because if it's uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable, just like, you know, that's just the way it is. And so, it's just so interesting how it's changed. But I think we have to be able to be at times uncomfortable. And when I mean uncomfortable, it's not like they might be saying anything that, was shocking or whatever. Or sometimes it's the feeling of helplessness,
Yes.
or, a lot of the time of where you want something for someone, you want them to feel better. And that's just sometimes it's a hard place to be to watch.
Yeah, well, absolutely. It is a hard place to watch and that's the thing, I mean, sometimes the best thing we can give somebody is, just being able to um hold space for them and sit with them quietly and hold their hand, whether it's virtually or literally in person, but just being able to walk the path with them and just say, basically saying to them, I'm here. I'm present with you. And whatever it is you're going through, whatever it is that's happening to you at this moment, I am here. And you don't always need words for that. Sometimes you just need to be there, be present for whoever it is that you are is going through, whatever the experience they're going through, just being present. I think that's the other thing with grief often too, right? Is that, you know, people feel uncomfortable with grief, even though we all experience it to some degree, right? It's just we we want to fill that void with words. We want to fill that with solace in some way. But sometimes, really, all that's needed is silence and being present.
Yeah, I want to hear what Paul has to say. But you used a word that I think was, key, and that was presence. And
Yes.
it was being, truly present for that person without distraction, without, you know, letting your own judgments come in, your own thoughts, your own ideas, and just allowing yourself to be in their presence and in presence with each other. And I think that is the greatest gift, because I think that's all really anybody wants, is they just want to know and feel like someone else is there for them if they need.
Yeah, absolutely. But Paul, please feel free. You had your hand raised, so I'm
Yes, we will.
curious to know what you have to say.
Well, my comments about the being. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good day. Good, saligasle, hola, buenos dias. So, my thinking is this. First of all, um, I believe in something called the greater anatomy. So I don't think, even if we're silent in somebody's presence, we're not communicating with them. Even being there and you, for somebody, you have the part of you that doesn't exist, that exists outside of you, mind, spirit, all of those other lovely things. They exist there, and that's it can end up being where communication happens. And then, so just, so yeah, I mean, I fully understand the whole concept of grieving. Also, um, when I was in the beginning of my grief, a few years ago when I was grieving a lot, the thing that irritated me most about advice that people were handing out on grieving is that they had some kind of recipe, and you got to get over it by this and by that. And I think it sort of quickly sort of made me go, yeah, you're trying to sell me shit that I don't believe in. And I don't think you can ever prescribe to somebody how, when and how their emotions need to flow. Okay, now on the being bit. So I just want to, can I read two quotes, poems, whatever, that's been forming part of my reading over the last few days?
Sure,
Yeah,
why not?
absolutely. Yeah, please.
Okay. The first is a quote by W.H. Murray. Until one is committed, there's hesitancy. The chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there's one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. So that's the one quote. And that, for me, um, so maybe I sit in a different space on the beingness because, like miracles, I believe in miracles, but I also believe you have to be present to create miracles. Um, just sitting around, like people talk about in The Secret, and oh, I'm gonna, um, yeah, I maybe for some people suddenly some shit will appear from somewhere, but I believe it's possible to co-create into your space miracles to happen. And then the other quote I love. Um, Now I wanted to tweak it a little bit this morning, but I'm going to keep it as it is for the quote. But I want the words I want to replace, or word, is moment for moments, because I think there's more than one moment. There comes a special moment in everyone's life, a moment for which that person was born. That special opportunity, when he or she seizes it, or they, it will fulfill his mission, a mission for which he is uniquely qualified. In that moment, he will find greatness. It is his finest hour. And that's Churchill. And I think that we can experience many moments like that if we are present, um, and we turn up for being in this experience. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on being.
And thanks so much, Paul. One of the things I was thinking about when you were talking about, like, like basically preparing yourself, like if you're open and you're kind of, and if you're present and it's not like, like you're going to sit around and whatever, and if you're not focused and you're wallowing, like great things will come. But one of the things about being, to me, being with someone else, if we talk about being, is the whole idea of sort of like people who have like a group like this, where when we pause and we pause in silence, there is a communication, obviously, like an energy that is created beyond, you know, maybe what we, maybe in some ways could even perceive. Like there is a dynamic energy that happens. And I think you see that where connection and belonging is strengthened. And that is done through silence and through not saying anything. Like you can sit in a space of people who are meditating, chanting, practicing together, as far as like yoga, tai chi, qigong, a really heartfelt conversation. I know Seamus could speak to heart math, and just breathe together. And there is something, it's been for thousands of years, it's been shown, whether it be a sangha in Buddhism or a kula for, or a tribe, but you do have that real strength in that way, in numbers, like, and you can feel it. Like there is a difference when you come into a space and everybody has that sort of same intention and you're all there and holding space for each other, and there are no words exchanged at all, and yet there is such power in it. And I think that that's sometimes what, hopefully you guys feel in this space, but, there are a few other spaces that I feel that in, where you definitely get that energy. I mean, it's the difference between, practicing, let's say, yoga by myself versus practicing in a group of people where you're not talking. Tonka's now talking, but you're not talking to your neighbor in a class. Like, I mean, in general, you don't speak to each other, but there is just such a dynamic power to practicing together. And there always has been, as long as I've been teaching. And so I think that happens too. Like when you're with a group of people who just have this, and you don't even need to know them. Like I've been in those types of groups too, meditation groups where I don't know anybody. I've been online with people, and I think it's just, that's to me. Yeah. Thank you, Mary Jane. Yes. Yeah, Tonka sometimes is silent. Lately, not so much.
It's okay. He just wants his voice to be heard. It's all right. I just love the little, let's say you hear a little whoop. It's like he's agreeing with your thoughts, Jan. What do you mean? He's
That's right.
listening.
He's going like, go, mom.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you got it.
But yeah, I love that. It's too true, right? I mean, sometimes silence can feel uncomfortable, especially when we feel like we need to say something. We feel compelled that we must say something, even even if it's not necessarily a necessity, right? But it's interesting, but it's true. You can be in yoga or meditation or anything of that nature. And it doesn't have to be filled. Sometimes we want to fill those gaps, and sometimes those gaps just to meet need to be pauses, things that we just need to keep as they are.
Seamus, please.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, it goes back to what the quotes, the lovely quotes that Paul had mentioned there, as well as, the idea of presence and, ch choice and decisions, and we're creators. All these words are kind of coming to my mind as we're having this conversation. And it also comes back to kind of the fine balancing act between striving and effortless presence. And, when Paul was speaking, I was thinking about, yeah, we're creators and we have choices and we have choices to act. But I think it's a very fine balance there to shift into striving mode, and out of effortless presence, or, allowing and being present with whatever is occurring, So I think that there's a real opportunity, I think, for everyone, in every moment, I think, to observe when you're striving and forcing yourself to kind of choose and do things versus allowing yourself to be with whatever is occurring. And yeah, that for me is kind of back to experience, and it's only through an individual experience that people can actually know from their inside out what that perfect balance is for them, like through that noticing and, oh yeah, do you know what? I'm pushing a little bit hard here. I'm striving, which is counterproductive. And it's a very nuanced, delicate shift, I think, from striving, even gentle striving, into just being present, with whatever is occurring, like the mother, like, allowing her children to be with whatever challenge is arising without fixing the challenge for them. So I'm there if you need me, but, I'm going to let you navigate your way yourself. And it's difficult for me, and I'm choosing as a mother to observe and, to kind of nurture and hold you in the palm of my hand, and be there whenever you need me. But you're the primary initiator, and you yourself, as the child, will figure out what that just perfect balance between striving is and between engaging with whatever challenges arising, I guess.
Beautiful, Seamus. And I think it is challenging, and I think we have to, now, we have to be present. And I think it's, I think another word that's come up a lot, and I know you bring up a lot, Seamus, is awareness. And that's the awareness of, you know, for me, it's the awareness of like how quick I am to start like coming up with a solution in my head, even though I'm not saying anything, and where in my brain, like the fix it part of me is like, okay, well, they could do this and they could do that and whatever, and the dialogue that goes on. And so therefore, even for myself, and therefore I've actually stopped listening, and I've actually gone into a place of fix it mode and repair mode, and and to sit back and say, okay, and kind of try to turn off that part of me. And for me, it's a big shift to like just go to my breath and kind of shut down that voice in my head of all the different things that could happen and whatever, and how I could help this person or this loved one. And in good practice, and this may sound really funny, and is when working with, let's say, Tonka, is obviously, he is communicating on a level which is not words. So it's just sitting in his presence and sort of like being with him and seeing what comes up for me as to how I can best, serve him in the moment. But there's no, verbal exchange. And so it's very different. It's not like, and it's not a puzzle trying to be solved. It's and so it's a very, it's actually good practice, because I think the same practice comes from, if you have a loved one or a child who doesn't communicate, that, doesn't use words depending on, their age, or have the words to speak up, or and you could transfer that into, adulthood, where there are circumstances that happen which are beyond words, and we are not able to express. And then we just have to sit there and be in their presence until they may have the words or find the words to share. And we talked about words last week, but I think that that's really, is creating that space for that, and kind of monitoring in a loving way, in a compassionate way, where you tend to go in a conversation with someone who's, having a hard time.
See, Jan, Togger heard you speaking about him, and so he decided to make his voice heard.
Yes, he's using his words.
Yes, his words, it's true.
He's using his words.
Yeah, as I was sharing in the chat, as I would just say, it's like, yeah, well, he's communicating. He's saying, I need attention, or, Mom, it's time for snacks. So
That's right. It's always time for
time for
snacks.
snacks. I know.
Always.
I love yeah, it's such a beautiful conversation. It's true, it like I was saying before, you really want to try to fill space with words, but sometimes you don't need to overthink that, right? It's just like, I like what Paul was saying, is if you can overthink the worst, why can't you overthink the best? Absolutely. I must say that I would rather overthink the best than the worst, but that's just me, I think.
And it's funny, Paul, because I just read that the other day. And so we must be reading this. Either that or people are posting the same things, but I
Of
just
course
read
they
that the
are.
other day, and it made me smile. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Like, we tend to, like, how much we catastrophize in our head about certain things. And why can't we, like, magnify the good things, and, and overthink the good things versus, overthink the bad things.
Yes, sometimes I'd rather underthink the bad things, just saying.
That's right. That's right. Underthink. That's a good word. To
Yeah,
underthink
yeah,
something.
I just
I'm an expert overthinker, so that sounds
yeah,
really good.
me too. I'm sure we all experience that to some degree, depending on the situation. But yeah, it's just this is why it's great to be all under the same umbrella, right? As for our topic, is because it's nice in a space like this, to in community, to uh, um have the understanding, even if we're not speaking, but having the understanding that we're saying, hi, I'm here, I'm present, I'm with you, and I'm listening. And so it's just such a beautiful, um, it's just a beautiful feeling to know that there are people out there in the world, when sometimes we can feel very alone depending on what's going on, just knowing that they're there holding space for us, even if they're not saying something directly to us at a given moment. But it's just nice to feel that there's that warm love sitting there, whether we're physically present or not.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that it's also nice, when people truly are in a place where they can be authentic and they can share. And when everybody starts to share, and you realize, like, okay, the fact that I, have a hard time sitting in the presence of someone when they're in pain is not an uncommon, it's not an abnormal, quote, and I'm using that word in quotes, but it's not, I'm not unique in that situation, that it's a common human condition. And I think we need to know that, because I don't think that we're like, I don't know that I knew that until people started sharing with me under certain things. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, you mean other people experience this too? And I think that that's the gift of like these conversations, is because you realize, or the conversations you have that I think have, for a lot of people have meaning, is the fact that they realize that they are not alone and that they do belong. Because, silence is great. Don't get me wrong, but silence, like I said, can be uncomfortable. And sometimes when you don't share, you think, you really feel like you're all alone in a particular situation or circumstance. Like you're the only one in the world who's ever gone through this.
Absolutely. When you were just saying that, and I was like, that phrase is like that silence is deafening. It can be, can feel the silence can be can feel very overwhelming, but it also can be comforting all at the same time. So what a
Mhm.
beautiful juxtaposition we have in this life.
Absolutely. And that's very true. It's, the world is full of opposites all the time. And
Yeah.
so, and the same experience, it's like, in certain days, silence can feel like heaven, and other days, silence can feel like hell.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that to even realize that, and to not, we were talking last night, Mary Jane, you, Darlene, and I,
Yeah.
yesterday, we were talking about expectations.
Yes.
And it's like not going in and expecting every, like, let's say, opportunity for silence to be a, like, I don't know, like a piece of cake and just this unbelievable experience, and beautiful and everything. It's just like, you know, every, I don't know, that's not the way life is. It's going to vary because you're different every day.
Yes, absolutely. Probably a good thing if we're different every day, because some days, maybe some days, just some days,
Just putting
perhaps
it
not
out
always the
there.
best. Yeah, some days, maybe you we need to put something different out there into the world. But
Eh,
just as the people like to say, I'm speaking for a friend, of course.
Oh, that, if you think about it, yeah, that is funny. That that we kind of like, we don't have and the word that comes to the word that came to my mind was courage, or we don't want at that moment to actually voice what's going on. But it's always kind of, it is that we shy away or we protect ourselves, in certain situations and with certain people. It's
Well,
probably all done.
yeah, of course. And sometimes um it's like realizing what umbrella you're standing under, Sometimes you know that perhaps the
Mhm.
umbrella you're standing under at the moment perhaps may not be the one protecting you the most from the rain. I'll just put a little umbrella.
I know, and it's purple.
Yes, it is purple.
Your favorite color,
Yay!
your favorite color.
Yeah.
Um, but I agree with you. Sometimes, right? It's realizing that you're under the wrong umbrella, you know, that you shouldn't be under that purple umbrella, and maybe possibly you should find another umbrella
I'd
to
always be under the
stand
purple
under.
umbrella, just saying,
I
Jane.
know, I know. But yes, I know. But is to learn, purple rain. Yeah. Good example. Is to learn what, the places you feel comfortable with.
Yes.
And, Seamus and I have spent a lot of time over the past, like, I don't know, year talking about belonging and realizing that you're not going to belong under every umbrella.
Hmm.
And it's okay to, step back and say, okay, well, this isn't what I thought, and this isn't what umbrella I want to be under.
Yes, absolutely. Or it's okay to occasionally be under that umbrella, but maybe you don't want to stay there
That's right.
on
It's
a
okay
daily
to visit.
basis.
It's okay to
Visit.
visit, but you don't want to live there.
Absolutely. But um, But what a beautiful umbrella this community is, at least at least in our humble opinions, we feel it is, because not because of us, but because of all of you.
Absolutely.
It's
Like I always say in the beginning, this community is because of all of you, and not, coming each week and sharing each week.
exactly. And I
Whether that
see
be
Al
verbal,
has raised his hand, so I'm guessing he has something special for us.
I'm sure.
Yes, always the acronym, and umbrella that you put in the social media is a rainbow color, So it's
Yes.
our life is full of colors, We have ups and downs, and you have the darkest colors ranging to the lightest tone color. Yeah. So
Hmm.
basically, uh, yeah, our lives is like a yo-yo, Sometimes,
Oh
so
yeah.
you have so many different types of umbrellas, and even like the Chinese olden days, they have those wooden umbrellas, and you can sometimes you see in the street. I'm not sure you've been to Asia or not. Sometimes they hang the umbrella upside down, and it's so colorful, on the just across like the between the lamp post across the small streets and all that. So
Yes.
you can imagine that, yeah. So it's so
Beautiful.
beautiful, yeah, and
All the
yeah,
colors. Mhm.
that's right. So basically, yeah, my umbrella's acronym for this week is underneath for you, underneath my breath work, restoration, UMBR, and energizes love language alignment. So imagine, yeah, this umbrella actually lights up our life, in giving spreading the love among ourselves, across our human nation, and spreading of the languages, and realignment ourselves, especially when it comes to our breath work. Yeah. So it's just restoring our inner system within our chakras and all that. Yeah. So basically, yeah, this is yeah, I'm very. I didn't. I just came out from my mind. So surprisingly, I didn't know that this umbrella is a long acronym though, but it's beautiful how I came up with, So yeah, because the breath work within us always gives us the opportunity, to reset ourselves and restores our energy and re-energizes us. Yeah. So yeah, I'll put that in the chat. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. And one of the things you said, this whole idea of, under the umbrella, and just, I guess I think of this space and all the different backgrounds we all come from. And I think that when you're in a space where it is like a community, like we're talking about, if you call it a sangha, a satsang, like whatever you want to name it, there is this, the outer appearances and layers of how we all label ourselves tends to go away. That tends to disappear. And I think that that's what's felt. That's why you can sit in a space of like I've done a number of times, whether that be on silent retreat or meditation, or just practicing or conversation, of people who don't necessarily speak the same language, and it doesn't really matter. It's just being in the true presence of other people. And then that's beautiful, and that's enough. Like, there do not need to be words exchanged. And I love the fact that you put up a rainbow, Al, because I was actually thinking of a rainbow when you were talking, and you said, the colors of the umbrella. And I was thinking the colors of the rainbow, of the umbrella, sort of lead into the colors of the rainbow, and the fact that there is a rainbow after the rain. So, yeah.
Such a beautiful conversation. Thank you. Thank you all for being so open and sharing your thoughts. It's lovely to be able to be here and take it all in.
Can I just say something quickly? When you said that, it came to me.
Sure.
Yes.
So if you think about an umbrella, It's a bit like your mind. If you don't open it, it can't do its job. So
Ooh,
you can't, you have to open it for it to do its job, and for you to turn up as your best you have to open your mind to whatever possibilities exist.
And that reminds me, I love that, Paul. And that reminds me of you can't hold anything with a closed fist,
absolutely.
with a closed hand. So you can't
Hmm.
hold another hand. You can't hold your, there's no touch. If your fist is closed and clenched, then
You can hold a really small diamond.
that's you coming from the guy from South Africa. So thank you, Paul. Oh, gotta laugh. Thank you. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Laugh
Oh,
after, oh my gosh.
and there's a diamond ring. People like just, you gotta love it. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. What a beautiful space to be able to share all of the emotions, right? All of them under the umbrella, they're all welcome. So I love I the oh, look at that. Like Paul's busy like doing his creation behind the scenes. I was like, wow, that was really cool, the graphic. And now he's got his Al's acronym in there. Amazing. Amazing.
I would love the umbrella to be a bit blue because my favorite color is blue.
Oh, well, you know.
I know.
Oh my
It
goodness.
would have to be some sort of blue purple or whatever.
Or something.
Yeah, combination thereof.
There you go. But I love how well, I'm saying we're because it feels like it's us. We're all
Yeah.
represented here. We're all huddled under the umbrella. I love it.
Mhm.
Cool.
I feel like I want to redecorate the Zoom room.
There you go. Oh my gosh, I love it. So, um, yeah. So, Jan, do you think this is a good opportunity to move into the meditation?
Absolutely. Begin by finding a comfortable position, allowing your body to settle in a way that feels naturally to you. There's no need to change your breath. Just notice it as it moves in and out. Bring to mind the image of that umbrella. Simple, steady, open. Imagine yourself standing beneath it. You don't have to hold it. You don't have to do anything. Just notice that it is being held for you. Perhaps there's someone that comes to mind, or perhaps it is simply a presence. There's no need to define it. Just sense the umbrella above you, offering shelter, a quiet space of ease, a place where nothing needs to be held alone. Allow yourself to feel what it is like to not be responsible for everything in this moment. Nothing needs to change and nothing needs to be solved. Just this, being here as you are under the umbrella. Now, very gently allow the image to shift and see yourself now holding the umbrella. Your hands steady, your presence grounded, and in front of you, there is something else. No need to define who. There is someone else. Just a sense of another person standing beneath the umbrella you are holding. Notice that nothing needs to be said. Nothing needs to be fixed. You are simply there, holding, offering space, allowing them to be exactly as they are. Feel the quiet strength in that, the simplicity of presence. Not doing more, not becoming more. Just this. And perhaps you begin to notice that this is the same space, the same umbrella. Sometimes you are held, and sometimes you hold. Sometimes you are held, sometimes you hold. And both belong here. There is no effort needed between the two. Only the gentle rhythm of life itself, receiving and offering, a dance between the two. For a few moments, rest in that understanding. You are not alone, and you are not without the ability to be there for others. Both can exist in the same quiet space, in that same silence. And when you are ready, gently return to your breath, to your body, to the space around you. No need to rush, just coming back in your own time. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Please take a moment to connect with us during the week, if that speaks to you. I think I speak for everybody in this space, but if anybody were to need someone to hold that umbrella, I think we would all be there.
Mm-hmm.
So feel free to reach out if you need. We will continue our 4-part series with Darlene, our summer series. The third session will be June 18th. Last night we had a wonderful session with Mary Jane on play.
Thank you, Jen.
We got to play. Yeah, we got to play. It was a lot of fun. And our next Spirit Born Imaginings workshop is actually a week from tomorrow. It's next Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, June 13th. We would love to have you. June 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And have a wonderful weekend and week ahead. We love you guys.
Yes. And many blessings. All have a beautiful weekend.
Yep.